anything, to know anything, to learn about something, we first say that we have to experience it, that we have to have a first hand encounter with it. Only then we would be able to learn anything about it. Only then we would be able to understand it. Our understanding is based on experience. How we feel when we come in contact with it, how we see what effects does it have on us. It is through this effect, through this feeling, through the thought that we have about it when we are experiencing it, is we is how we understand, is how we learn something. But do we see that our experience of something actually depends on our prior experiences, on our experiences that we have already have had before? In other words, do we know that we really do not have any fresh experience, any new experience? In actuality, all our experiences are already loaded with the past information, the knowledge that we have. It is through this knowledge, it is through the feelings, the information, that we experience anything. We have a set of beliefs, notions, some ideas, and it is through these ideas, through these beliefs, through our notions, that we actually experience anything. We say that it is through our thoughts we come to understand anything. Our experience of the world, of what we see outside, is reported by our thought. Is that report objective in and of itself, or the seeing itself is already conditioned by the thought? Do we actually see anything without the beliefs, knowledge, and information interfering into what we see, what we observe? Is our observation really innocent, fresh, not loaded with pre-fed information? We'll find that our experience of something is heavily dictated by our past experiences. Even if we are experiencing something for the first time, we will find that our experience of that thing is determined by all the other experiences that we have had before. Whatever we are experiencing is dictated by the experiences that this body have had through thousands of years. All that information, all that knowledge is fed into our each cell, And throughout the journey of evolution, however this physical body has acted, our particular experience of today, of the present, will be directed by those past experiences of the body. So we will find that every experience that we have is only a subset of all the previous experiences that we have had. The body will be determining it, multiple mental factors would be determining it, our conditioning would be determining it. In fact, our climactic condition would also dictate our experience. So no experience in itself is actually objective, true, real. All experiences are simply experiences and nothing else. We cannot claim that we truly understand something for what it is without understanding the fallibility of experience itself, that how conditioned our experiences actually are. Without realizing this, without seeing how our social conditioning, how our cultural conditioning defines our experience, how our, in fact, physical conditioning of the body, which has been conditioned through millennia, in fact, how the body conditions the mind also. If we do not understand all of this, we will find that our experiences only lead us to confusion, only lead us to illusion. One point of time, the experience that we had would be different, and in other point of time the experience that we will have would be completely different. So which experience is really true? The answer is none of them, because experiences rely on the state of the mind, and the state of the mind is always changing, is always transforming, and the state of the mind depends on the state of the surroundings, the state of the environment. If the environment is always changing, if the surroundings are new in every other moment, how can we really have an experience of truth, of that which really is? It is through this understanding, it is by knowing that all our experiences are dictated by multiple outward factors, can we actually observe something innocently without any predetermined ideas, information, knowledge interfering with that observation. Understanding comes only through observation. And for us to understand something, to know the truth of something, We have to begin by observation, and that observation cannot have its foundation, cannot be dictated by the past information, the past experiences, our conditioning, our knowledge, our beliefs, because we will find that our past memory, our past experience would begin to dictate what we see, would not allow us to observe with fresh set of eyes, with an innocent set of eyes. Our observation, our understanding, our knowing would be tainted with our own prejudices and biases, which were the result of our past experiences. So, understanding happens through clear observation, not by merely allowing yourself to experience something, not just simply depending on how and what we actually feel about it. Our feelings are nothing but the product of our environment, the product of the state of a particular state of a mind. And if to understand something, to know something, we rely on our feeling, we rely on our experiences, we'll find that whatever we have come upon, any conclusion, any result, would be simply wrong, false, illusory. Experience may work when it comes to physical things, when it comes to mechanical things. Driving a car, like having a skill, learning how to dance, painting, etc. The thing that involves repetition, experience only is worthwhile there. Experience only matters when we have to learn through repetition. But learning about ourselves, learning about any learning psychologically cannot depend upon experience. Learning about a person, learning about ourselves, learning about relationships, learning about insecurity, learning about fear, learning about loneliness. We cannot understand, know these things through experience. We have to observe without any data information that is present in our mind. And this data and information is nothing but our past, our memory, our habits. One has to be inwardly a virgin to come upon something that is true, that is fresh, that is known, that can be only understood in the present. And understanding and knowing happens only in the present. And for that to happen, one has to rid oneself of of all conditioning. One has to empty oneself of all beliefs, of all memory, past knowledge, notions, ideas, and only then we can know something worthwhile. We can learn and not deceive ourselves, not lie to ourselves. Our thoughts, our feelings are continuously interacting with each other. They are impregnating each other. Each thought is informed by a feeling. Then each and every feeling is informed by a thought. A continuous exchange of these two form our experiences, and they are simply the result of the past, of our particular past and the past of the humanity, the past of violence, the past of greed, the past of jealousy, the past of evolution. All this information we carry within ourselves, in our body, in our mind, and they feed our feelings, they feed our thought. It is a system which only feeds itself. Thought is something which is literally of the past. It is thought of, it has been done before. Thinking is that which happens in the present, and no thinking can happen without observation. It cannot be based on past experience. It has to be unfolded, uncovered, revealed step by step. That is what thinking is. The repetitive function of thought and feeling is not thinking. Thinking is moving from one fact to another fact, and fact is that which is happening, not which is based on a belief, not which is based coming out of a notion, not which is a product of one's own insecurity. That is not thinking. All our thinking is merely this interaction of thought and feeling, and all those feeling and thought are the result of our past, our ideas, our beliefs, our notions. Just entrapping ourselves into this circle of thought, feeling, clashing of insecurity, belief, fear. This whole pot is just one element of the past interacting with another element of the past. There is no thinking here. One thought entering into a feeling, and one feeling impregnating a thought. All of this is just a random motion of the mind. There is no thinking happening here. Thinking is a careful, a meticulous, a step by step movement from one fact to another. It is a movement in innocency, which is free of all the past information, experiences, memories, and knowledge. That's how one understands. This is how one can know anything. This is what real psychological exploration looks like. It is a very meticulous process. It is not imagination, it is not weaving of fictional stories, it is not speculation, it is not assumption, it is direct observation of what actually is, what is happening right now, not what will happen, not what is supposed to happen, nor what has happened. It is not an aggregation, a conclusion of past events. It is not a hypothesis, an assumption of what the future will be. It is simply moving in reality of what is now. It is a movement in reality, in what is, and nothing else. One just doesn't simply cook up things. One does not go along with a narrative, with a presupposed conclusion, with a predetermined idea. It is not a convenient, fancy narrative that one tells oneself to find comfort in. It is a rigorous action, a complete holistic movement, free of any illusion, of any deception. Through this comes understanding. One is watchful, one is alert, one is absolutely aware of each thought, feeling crossing the mind. How deceptive, how convenient, how easily one lies. One is aware of all that, and it is in this awareness that one comes upon something authentic. Originality can only flower in this awareness of the mind. A psychological inquiry is always fresh. It doesn't function, it doesn't operate with an accumulated set of information, knowledge, or facts. Because it is fresh, it doesn't have any predefined ideas, any conclusions. It doesn't operate from what it already knows. It always begins with a clean slate. with not knowing anything and understanding what is in front of it right then and there. It doesn't come upon a conclusion through accumulated information. It is not a result of the knowledge which is stored in memory, and through that arriving on something. Psychological inquiry begins by completely unraveling, understanding what is occurring, what is happening, what is the fact of the now, how one is totally conditioned, and how one's own surroundings and background interferes with understanding oneself, one's ideas and beliefs, notions about oneself are the real impediment in inquiry, in understanding of oneself. The one who tells lie has to uncover his own lies, and that is where the rigor comes in. How one has deceived oneself, how one has made stories, how one has conveniently believed in some things. One has to completely brush all of that aside, and it doesn't matter how much uncomfortable the thing becomes, how uneasy we may feel. One has to put aside all the feelings, one has to look past the initial insecurity and discomfort and stay at work at what is one discovering at every step. To be truthful through this rigor is the very spirit of a right inquiry. One has to have a complete disregard to any belief, idea, or a feeling of comfort that one takes shelter in. One has to be willing to completely upend one's mental structure. One has to be ready for a complete destruction to take place. One has to destroy any impediment that comes in between finding what reality is. Any pre-established belief, any authority has to be challenged and thrown off, essentially. our own thought and feelings and past experiences have such an authority over us. They rule, they dictate our every action, and we cannot let any of these things dictate the course of the psychological inquiry. In understanding of oneself, no thought and feeling can assume authority. No belief can take over and begin to rewrite things in their own way. One has to acknowledge all this and put it aside. One has to acknowledge the feelings, one has to acknowledge the discomfort or comfort, one has to observe the feeling of uneasiness and put it aside. Such ruthlessness is what is needed in really understanding what lies behind the self. What is the self? The self that is fearful, the self that is insecure, the self that is lonely. One has to unearth all the associations that upon which this self stands on. Only then we can come upon reality. Only then we can understand what truth is. Truth does not come through experience. It is not a report of what we found of our thoughts, a collection of our perceptions of what we conceive, because all our perceptions, our observations are heavily loaded by the past knowledge, memory. Truth is the ruthless negation of everything that is false, of everything that appears to be true but isn't.